If you start sending people back down there, don't call me to come save your asses. Because in case what happened down there wasn't clear to you, man versus Meg isn't a fight. It's a slaughter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And it occurred to me as I was speaking that I think I'm introducing this movie, but we didn't talk about it 1 second ago. So just wanted to put it out loud into the universe in case I was wrong. But this week, we are doing The Meg from 2018. It is a movie I have been pitching for a while because The Meg 2 comes out next month, you guys. And I love a little Sharky 2 weeks, but I thought, those 2 weeks don't have to be right next to each other. We'll see if Sharky 1 week becomes Sharky 2 weeks, I guess. But in the meantime, we're doing The Meg, and it is more timely than I anticipated when I first suggested it.
It's very timely.
It's incredibly timely.
Yeah, I mean, mostly it's big shark movie. This shark is so big, and that's the movie.
Huge.
It's really big, you guys. It's really bigger than other sharks. That's crazy.
You're thinking about something big, but think bigger than that.
Think bigger. Yeah. But it is also a little wow, isn't it crazy when submarines implode deep in the ocean? And isn't it crazy when billionaires spend a lot of money on deep sea adventures? And isn't it crazy when people need to be rescued really far beneath the surface of the ocean?
Yes.
And isn't it really interesting that it can implode?
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't it so crazy? It doesn't sound like anything I've heard of recently, though, so I don't really know what you're getting at.
That's actually just in the movies and wouldn't happen in real life.
Nobody would do that in real life.
Of course.
Everybody has so much respect for the ocean and the dangers it poses, and nobody would ever be mean to any marine life. Certainly not any orcas either out there, So just a general in the world these days, oceans fighting back.
Oh yeah. The ocean is not fucking around, but that's because we've been fucking with it for millennia. Yeah. And so they're saying this is for Shamu, and then they're eating all of our yachts.
Also,
this is for you, Shamu.
Saturn is in Pisces, which big water sign energy.
Whoa! How long will Saturn be in Pisces?
Let's see. Till 2025.
Oh, okay. So this is going to be quite the phase that we're going through. You know what?
The Orca Revolution is here to stay.
That's fine.
Human life is so precious always. But also humans don't actually rule the world, and I think maybe these are some scary but important reminders.
Yes. Leveling the playing field.
Yeah, you're not in 100% control of your own environment, and you gotta be careful. And it's best to you take risks sometimes for an adventurous life.
Yeah,
but be aware.
We love adrenaline junkies. Also, even if you are mega rich as God, you can still die. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. Yeah.
We haven't cracked immortality yet, as far as I know. I mean, maybe there's some weird shit going on that I don't know about yet. It gets a little crazy. But
the rich could really be keeping some secrets. But
I will say, if I was a billionaire's wife, I would be getting them like fun little excursion packages for like incredibly dangerous things. Like, hey, sweetie, don't you want to do this?
Don't you want to swim with
my
hippos?
God.
Doesn't
Right?
that seem
Just
fun
so
and feisty?
fun.
I've heard that hippos are super sweet. They love
Hippos
it when
are
you
like so
put your
gentle.
head in their mouth.
Really love to cuddle. Yeah, I mean, everybody
Don't you
gets to
wanna
make their
go
own
look for
choices.
prehistoric
People
70-foot sharks?
Some people have the resources to make choices that would never be available to the rest of. I would personally would love to explore things that are hard to get to, but I would like to do so safely, you know.
Yes.
And the technology is not there for some of those things, unless you're super super wealthy, and even then sometimes people are cheaping out in what is actually very expensive.
I would have gone with James Cameron. Nobody else.
He seems like he knows what he's doing. He said he's been down there 33 times.
Like, if James Cameron isn't on my submersible vessel, neither am I.
I didn't know about like his many trips to the Titanic, and I also didn't remember that part of the Titanic where you're seeing
where they're in the submarine
down there. Yeah. Totally forgot. Totally forgot about that part. I'm thinking about Leo. I'm thinking about our girl. I forgot her name right now.
Kate Winslet.
Thank God. Thank you, Jesus.
Should we put the Titanic on a Fifth Tuesday list?
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I ready to make that emotional commitment once again? Yes, I will.
Should we do another romance month in the future? I think that would be a good Fifth Tuesday, but then we'd have to take it out of February, I guess.
That's fine. You can be romantic at any time of the year.
So true.
Netflix saw an opportunity, and after all this stuff, immediately put it back on streaming service.
My friend texted me today and was like, crazy how that is the most watched movie of the week.
My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion got its
also
biggest,
was ranking. Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Kate Winslet, she was like, isn't that so grim? And I was like, well, remember when everybody was watching Contagion in March 2020?
Yep.
So I guess
I did a double feature of Contagion and then Outbreak. Horrible.
This is just the way it goes sometimes, I guess, for human behavior. Everybody is just like a little fascinated, and also, you know, if you can't actually have access to anything like that for yourself, it's like, well, I'll watch the movie. There's just a lot going on.
This was a total shit show too. You know, like the world has stopped and waited while people are like trapped before. Like when those kids were stuck in that cave, in Thailand or something. Everybody in the world cared about that. Those were kids, and we were like, the kids must survive. It was very tragic. This, you know, is sad on its face when you don't look at it with the magnifying glass. But every like time you zoom in, it gets more and more preposterous and insane. Like just the concept in and of itself is insane. I heard they made a thing out of carbon fiber. That is a horrible idea. That's what my bike is made out of. No. And also like this turned into a Cardi B beef. Like it just got really ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Blink 182 was
There's so many celebrity cameos.
It got way too comical, way too fast. And I do pour one out for those
That one was not on us. That
was
on somebody else.
And that child used the N-word too, so he's got a lot of things going on.
That adult child.
That adult child.
That fully adult grown man.
Sorry, he was like 21. It's a child to me.
I saw a tweet and it was like, the world needs somebody going missing or getting stuck to like really bring the internet together for a couple days.
People love when things get stuck.
It was
remember when
Elizabeth's death level. It was crazy. It was wild. The internet was really great last week. And I mean, again, don't want to seem too callous. It is sad. I'm sorry that people died. I cannot wait for the really, really good horror movie they make about this, and all the like 6 or 7 really, really bad ones.
I can't wait for the Lifetime movie about this that's going to drop one day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The Ghost Shark one where like they turn it into a Meg sequel, like that kind of a thing.
What if that's the Meg too? And they were like,
so on the
actually,
nose.
we have a psychic on staff.
there's a dinosaur in the Meg 2 trailer.
Yeah, there is a dinosaur in the Meg 2 trailer.
Jesus
There's a dinosaur
Christ.
in the Meg 1 movie, technically.
Well,
Yeah,
because here's the thing about the movie, to loop back to the movie that we're doing
the movie.
on the
We can talk
podcast
about
this
the movie.
episode, just in case you
With-
thought
this
that
is
we
the
forgot that
reason
we were
why we're
doing a
doing it.
podcast episode.
This is an important discourse. We should have just
It's-
copied and pasted the recorded 20-minute long conversation we had about this last week also in our pre-show chat. That's what we should have done for the opening, where you told me all about it because I knew nothing about it. It was very
Yeah,
informative.
oh my god, she hadn't heard it. It was crazy.
It was very, I
We
live in
got
the
to
dark.
get
I live in the dark.
into it. Oh my god, what a treat for us.
I love explaining things on the internet to people who don't know things.
Can you tell we have a podcast? I mean, it's we didn't start this for no reason.
We love to run
My-
our mouths.
Here's the thing. My favorite hobby is telling people fun facts, looking at attractive people and giggling. Those are my top
So
3
this
hobbies.
is your dream activity all the time,
Let's go.
constantly.
Yes.
If you like
Why do
those things, this is the podcast for you. We also talk about movies.
Speaking of movies,
Attractive people.
Here is
Like-
the. Oh, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was gonna say Jason Statham's in this movie.
Like
in,
Jason Statham, yeah,
a
Ruby Rose.
tiny little he's in a very slutty little wetsuit for most
You
of the
see?
movie.
His so much free foot content from Jason Statham this
Good.
movie.
There is some footsie
What's the
content.
problem?
Lot of toe shit.
A lot of toes.
Wow.
Honestly,
Amazing. I missed a lot of that somehow.
well, it's not like up
Outing myself
close,
as
but
not
it's
having a
lot.
foot kink.
Yeah, I mean,
How
me
embarrassing.
either. But I guess I was like, I've never thought about Jason Statham's feet before, and then I was
Mm.
just surprised how often they were barren on my TV screen. But that aside, here is what the movie is about. If you've never seen the Meg and you are not familiar, you might have assumed Big Shark, but it's more than that. The IMDb logline reads, a group of scientists exploring the Marianas Trench encounter the largest marine predator that has ever existed, the megalodon. So it's not just about Big Shark, it's also about deep sea research, etc.
Etc.
submersible.
Etc.
Mhm.
Yes. Multiple submersibles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Many.
oh, so many.
That's one of the things I really like about this movie because it kind of like equates, which it is the same thing, the ocean with space, because you get like spaceship-esque
Yeah.
like vehicles that they use under submersibles, whatever that they use under the water, like and it's giving space travel, and I'm receiving it, and I'm saying yes. We were having
Mhm.
this conversation earlier where we were like, I'd never go to space. Same. I would definitely go to the ocean. There's so much shit down there.
I
It's
don't want to
mostly-
do either of them.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued. I'm so curious. Personally, I would love to see the Titanic. I love ruins and like forgotten places and reclaimed places and stuff. I'm like so into that shit. But also I feel like what's going on in the deep, deep ocean is none of my business and really
Absolutely
scary.
none of my business.
Yeah, I saw a video like last week of a scary squid-esque creature or some type of squid from the deep sea with these really long tentacles, and they thought it just kind of like floated jellyfish style, and then it was like controlling its tentacles, and they were like, whoa, it's attacking. Like there's a lot going on down there. I am fascinated, but also
I want to go.
Did
maybe
you
we
see
I'm
should
the
stay in our
opposite.
biome
I'm like, I
sometimes.
can't get my nose out of this business. I want to get my nose all up in this business. My dream is to get scuba certified. I'm like, if I get
that'd be fun.
eaten by the giant squid, then at least I'll be in my happy place. I
Not
don't
me.
wanna
Which
be
is
in deep-
inside of the giant squid.
Well, literally, my happiest place that I ever am is like I do free diving while snorkeling, and I go like all the way down like 20 feet. I don't know depth. Okay, don't ask me.
That seems
But
far
pretty-
enough.
We have no depth perception.
And I swim. Okay, that's how you say it now. I swim
swim.
around. And I can hear the whales down there sometimes, and I feel like a little
Whoa.
mermaid. Yeah, bitch. It's fucking sick, and it's the best thing ever. And I'm always like, too bad I can't breathe and stay down here all the time. Thus, scuba diving. Anyway,
Yeah,
what were
one
you
of
gonna
those
say,
little
Sydney?
respirator
Yeah,
things
that's none of
Jason
my
Statham has
business.
at the end.
That's just none of my business. My favorite place is a couch and or my bed. I love to lie down. I like
I love
watching.
to lie down.
I like watching documentaries about space, and that's about as much as I need. I love tanning. That's it.
Good
I
for
hear you
you.
can do
That's
that
great.
so good from outside of Earth's environment. Have you thought about that? If you got closer to the sun, you could tan faster.
You would light on fire.
I feel like I would get
Don't
a
go all the way to
sunburn.
the sun, just a little closer.
Amazing. Wait, you know what? I think we should talk about the movie.
This is the movie.
I can't imagine why. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Again, as we've been saying, lots of parallels. It literally starts with Jason Statham doing a deep sea rescue on a submarine that is on the verge of implosion because the structural integrity has been compromised by something mysterious in the deep. And they don't believe him when he gets back to the surface that it was like he did what he had to do to save the people he could. They're like, you left 8 men down there. And he's like, but I saved 11. And Heller, that other guy, is like, but you're just a little bitch. And that's not true. And you caved under the pressure just like that submarine.
Heller's so mean. But also, like, that's like the impossible situation. That's like the fucking trolley problem. Like,
he's doing full survivor's guilt projection onto the person who made the decision, which, you know, I get. Not great that he kind of slandered him to everybody else in their group.
Yeah.
And also, he's a doctor, so he like
fully diagnosed him.
He had like a dysphoria or something. It was like he was crazy down there, and he was like,
"Yeah,
bitch."
He said he got like pressure sickness or crush sickness or something. I don't know.
Psychosis.
Yeah, water-induced psychosis, something like that. Whatever. It was
Did
my
Sweet
business.
Home Alabama just start
business.
playing?
Yeah, my Mark is calling me, so.
I was like, suddenly the Alabama jumped out. Yeah, the beginning was really tough. This just really hard to like be the reason your friends die. Like your choice makes your friends die, but you're making the right choice for the group, you know? You can't win.
Hard to be the decision maker. Lots of pressure, lots of responsibility.
I would go on a bender for forever in Thailand as well after that. That seems like a really great response, honestly.
Well, especially if I was like, there's a creature down there, and everyone was like, no, there's not. And it's like,
you're insane.
Pretty sure there was.
Actually, there was. And now I'm justified.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so we've got that as like background cold open kind of, and then we have this whole other deep sea exploration that's going on because apparently this movie is based on a book that came out in like 1996, which is wild, and they tried to get it made for like a really long time, and it just didn't come together until this movie in 2018.
They were like, we don't need it because we already have mega shark versus giant octopus, and so that hole has been filled. I have many thoughts about parallels to that movie that I will be bringing up throughout the episode. Continue.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because one of the things that I thought was most interesting is that, like, okay, Rainn Wilson is a billionaire. He's visiting his ocean marine institute, deep sea exploration research base.
Yeah. The sickest place ever, essentially.
Extremely sick. And they're sending down a
submersible,
not a spaceship, submersible. Well, I don't think you have to call that one a submersible because it controls itself, and
that's true.
Well, I don't really know. I'm no scientist. They're sending down a ship,
a vehicle of some sort
that can explore underwater. But shit hits the fan really quickly because they're like, there's something down here.
Well, I just love the whole concept though, because like, sorry, the setup is so cool. Like the idea is that they're at the Marianas Trench, right? And that there's
the
this
deepest
layer
part of the ocean.
Yeah, there's this layer of like freezing cold water, but like that
what if
nothing
that wasn't the
could live there. And they're like, what if there's something underneath that? And so they like shoot down through it, and like I think that's very cool that there's like a water barrier. I don't know. I'd believe anything. So I'm
There's
like, it's
these
true.
gases, and it's
That's
actually just a
happening.
cloud, and you can descend through it, and then there's more ocean underneath, and the temperatures are different, so you'll get animals
Treasures
again.
untold.
Yeah, it is super cool. It's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, I geeked
but
out over that. I was like, fake but cool.
yeah. And then I mean, obviously that whole I mean, first of all, I loved this whole film. There was no part of this film that I didn't love. So I mean, I love the like Rainn Wilson introduction to the base, and it's
Oh my
beautiful.
God.
And he's like,
He's
"You
such a
smell
little
like
dick."
sandalwood" to the main scientist guy, and he's just like
And he
meeting the
tries
little
to
girl.
He tries to speak another language and botches it heavy.
Right.
Yeah, and he gets called out, and an 8-year-old has to be gracious about it to him and be like, "My mom loves your hat."
That little girl, it's a boring hat for one. But that little girl is a gem. She's so cute in this. Incredible
love
little
her.
spicy actress.
I love her like buddy relationship with Jason Statham throughout this entire movie.
Yeah,
It's
Hey,
like one of
crazy.
the like it's truly like an incredible like there's so many good things in this movie, and that's like one of the like best things.
Very best.
I
Yeah,
agree.
totally.
I agree.
I was
But one of
some would say flavor blasted for this movie. So parts of it I was
Same.
like what do they actually have chemistry, or is everything really weird? But I also had like an amazing time. Like really, I was yelling at the TV. I was like, no way. Really? And I was screaming the dog's name. Anyway, keep going.
Pippin, yeah, I mean, we'll get to Pippin. We'll get to Pippin. But I thought one of the things that I thought was really interesting and cool about the introduction of the Meg itself in this movie, they go down, their ship gets attacked by something. They're like, "There's something down here. We're stuck. We can't go up. We've lost communication." Another ship comes down to save them with the mom, the lady. She's also a daughter. She's right in the middle
the
of
cool
that
spaceship
3-generational family on the scientist Discovery C base. And so she goes down to save them, and it's like something fatal is down here, but you don't see the Meg first. What you see first is a giant squid, and they're like,
Yes.
"This is another creature of the deep, and it could kill you, and it's a fatal threat." And I'm like, blah blah blah, and then they're like, "And guess what could kill him?" So it's even scarier than the thing that was already scary.
And it's
the
also
Meg.
a jump scare.
Yeah, I just think it's so fun. It's so fun to be like, we know you thought you were going to see the Meg because that's what we called the movie.
But what if this movie was
Gotcha.
actually about a giant squid?
I
What
just think
if?
it's so fun because it sets
giant
up
squid
the
named Meg.
stakes.
Right.
Yeah. Her name actually is Meg. Like we
Yes,
didn't. She
that's
obviously she doesn't have a
Meg.
name tag, but that is her name. So it's like a fun little coincidence that she's in the movie. We had this other squid, Stacy, like on lock, but the other Meg showed up, and we were like, "Oh my god, your name is Meg. It has to be
That
you."
chemistry
What
with
if
the camera.
Meg was actually just a 70-foot Megan doll that lived in the deep.
Oh
We
wow.
should get. I pitched
Oh
on
my
social a Megan crossover with they/them. I would love a Megan crossover with the Meg. I think she should be in every kind of horror
Wow.
movie.
She should
Chelsea, I
ride
think
it.
you're gonna need to use your Photoshop skills for good and for
It's
evil
kind
all
of
at once.
like,
It's both.
It's kind of like the scene in AI artificial intelligence. You know what I mean? But not sad, maybe.
Oh God, don't make me even try to recall any part of that movie. I'll burst into tears right now. Fuck that movie. It's very good. But fuck that movie. I
Okay,
refuse. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's so fun for them, obviously, to be like, "You thought you were gonna see the Meg," and then to be like, "Guess what? The Meg
Like-
isn't the only thing down here that's dangerous." And then to be like, "The danger fears the Meg," because that squid
I
is
love it.
squeezing her, and then it gets chomped real fucking fast by the Meg. So
Gone, dead.
gone.
And then they make you emotional really fast too. Like knew Toshi for 10 minutes of this movie. It was probably 20 at that point. I don't know. It was a long opening sequence. And I loved him with my whole heart. And also, I mean, of course I loved him. I love Hiro Nakamura from fucking Heroes. So
yeah, that was great casting with Masi Oka because they said we need you to care about this character who is beloved. And
beloved.
Yeah, he nailed it because he's just like I don't know, maybe I haven't seen him in that many things, but obviously he was the sweetest little sweetie patootie in Heroes. And that carrying that casting with him into this role, I think did so many favors. But also, you know, they gave him the setup of like he immediately starts writing something, and you're like, what is he writing? And he's like, I'm writing a letter to my fucking wife because like I'm saying goodbye no matter what. And if we don't make it out of here, then this letter will have to do that. And if we do make it out of here, then I'll just give her a little kissy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he has things to say, and some of those things are probably love you. And that's an important message to be delivered.
Well, just like I don't know, they're so I don't know, they really zone in on like how tight this group of people is. Yeah. And how much they care about each other. And like,
they have their little insertion joke.
Them, yeah. You know, if you don't see them like being tight with each other so much, because there's not a lot of time because they're being attacked by a shark. They say they're sad so many times that you're like, I believe it.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that's funny about this movie is the passage of time is used very generously for whatever they kind of need to be going on, because like Toshi and the other guy, the Wall, is that what they call him?
Yeah, the Wall.
And Lori, Jason Statham's ex-wife, which is a fun twist. We should get more amicable exes, more divorces in stories.
I love that.
Just a really fun little relationship to put on screen. It's so fun to be like, these people have history and tension and love and maybe a little sexual chemistry, but it's not happening because it's over. Yeah. I don't know. I just think that's a fun dynamic. But
well, here's the thing. Everybody on the ship, everybody has sexual tension and chemistry together.
You're literally in the middle of the ocean with nobody else but other than these people. So like something's happening one way or another. Mm-hmm. Lori and Ruby Rose's character Jax, by the way, to me, something's happened there. Don't know what. Don't know that it's romantic. I just think there's potential, but I'll circle back to that some other time.
That sounds ideal, actually.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, but I mean, they're like, oh no, our submersible went down and then it immediately crashed. We have to get Jason Statham, the only person who's performed a deep sea rescue, to come rescue them. We're in the sea near China, but we're just going to hop over to Thailand and get Jason Statham and bring him back and then go down so fast. And also immediately Su Yin is going down in her own separate little vehicle. She's the one that gets got by the squid. And this is all happening really, really fast. So she's leaving to go down immediately when they get in trouble, and he's leaving to go down after her despite having to be retrieved from Thailand. And don't worry about the timeline because actually it's fine. Actually it's fine.
It makes a lot of sense.
It makes total sense, and please don't question it. And I did it, and I said I wouldn't do that to you. Not to you, the Meg.
This is a movie where you don't ask any questions. I want to hear the shark facts because I did absolutely zero research on this at all. So I'm excited to be wowed by shark facts. But like, none of this could happen. Jason Statham's brain would explode if he went down that fast. He
did bleed from the ears.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, I've done that to myself.
You blood from the ears?
Not from the ears, from my nose.
Okay,
I had a sinus infection and I dived all the way down like I was describing in detail. Don't do that.
Is that bad?
I like burst blood vessels in my sinuses. And so I started like bleeding from my nose and it was like coming out of my mouth. Not like a lot. And
While you were in the water still or afterwards?
afterwards, and I like tasted blood and all this stuff. And
Okay.
and
Well, at least you weren't
I
attracting
went on a
sharks.
snorkel trip, and I told the lady about it, and she was like, "Oh my God, do not put your head under the water under any circumstances." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I was like killing myself this whole time. That's cool. You can
That's real cool.
yeah, if you do that too much, then you can like fuck your shit up, so it'll always bleed every time you go down deep.
Whoa.
So don't be like me.
Oh my God, listen to the professionals and the experts, I guess, whenever you're doing something risky. Who knew that that was good advice?
You gotta clear your ears or you'll blow your eardrums. All that shit's very important.
Yeah, but Jonas, which is his name, and there was one
Jonas.
I thought very funny piece of IMDb trivia, but it got super downvoted as not helpful or relevant, where somebody was like, Jonas is actually just Jason all mixed up and rearranged, but it's just a coincidence that that's his character's name because the book came out 20 years before Jason was cast in this role. And I was just like,
God. Did you
maybe
know
they
that
cast
Jonas
him.
is an anagram for Jason?
Like, yeah, maybe it's just like our friend Meg the Squid, where he showed up and they were like, oh my God, but Jason is an anagram for Jonas. It has to be him.
Okay.
You don't know?
Also, they did know that Jason Statham is a incredible diver. He was on like
They
the
said
British
he's
diving
amazing.
team or something like that.
Yeah, he's good in the water. Do you guys know that? Now you do.
And he's really good at being dripping in any sort of thing, you know. This was just okay. Well, it was bringing up. I think I brought this up on the pod before.
You said you were going to, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was soaking wet at one point and glistening all over, and I was like, "This is just like the music video from the '90s where he's dancing and he's all oiled up and he's equally as ripped." Oh, it was when he got out of the shower. When you got out of the shower, I was like, this is an homage to that 90s music video that I will link in the references. And also sort of an homage to that other 90s music video where he's doused in glitter. His skin is glitter, also only wearing tiny little Speedo shorts.
He's game. He's game for a lot of things. And he's really good at, we know he's good at doing action because of those Fast and the Furious spin-off movies, Hobbs and Shaw.
Do not forget about the transporter. No transporter erasure on this podcast. He had his own action adventure series. That's why they even cast him in Fast and Furious. Probably
is that where he learned how to say, "Oh my God," in that like action star man voice?
He's been doing it for years, honey. He's a professional. That shit came out in like the late 2000s. I'm gonna look it up. I loved that. I was like, more love for the transporter. I think I'm a big Jason Statham girly. Do I have a thing for very select bald men?
Yeah, who doesn't?
Here's the thing. You know me and my fear of bald men. I like Jason Statham.
He's a winner. He's a winner.
Yeah. He's my exception for bald men.
He's funny. He's self-aware. He knows how to do comedy.
He's self-aware. I love him. That's all there is to it.
Back to the shark facts, I will give you some because there was a lot on IMDb trivia. There's a lot on IMDb trivia in general for this movie, and a lot of it was like kind of involved information about the technical aspects of making this film, which was super interesting if you wanted to go check it out, but I didn't make it into my notes for a lot of that.
Oh my God.
The sound design was very cool. The shark design was very cool. But do you know what the sharks realistically should have looked like?
What?
The sharks from 47 meters down uncaged. They should have been pale and blind because they're down there with no light at the bottom of the ocean.
That's all true. Comes back to 47 meters.
It uncaged. All comes back down to 47 meters down uncaged. Because to me, those are the best kind of shark movies. My ideal shark movie is like a movie that very much takes place within our world and realm of reality, but is just like not realistic. Because I want it to be in our world, but I don't want to have to ever worry about it actually happening. I want it to be a little silly. But for them to sort of treat it serious, but for it not to be too serious. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Don't worry, I waited for you to finish chewing so you could give me my verbal affirmation.
I had it muted.
No,
I've been
take your
muting
time.
whenever I eat.
So respectful.
Here's a thing that I need to say. I went onto Jason Statham's IMDb. I have the song names now, so you can look it up, even if you don't go to the show notes. His very first acting credit is from 1993, the year I was born. Is it a sign of our connection? Maybe.
Wow.
He is listed as background dancer in the Shaman Coming On music video. That song is really weird and it slaps. That's the first one. That's where he is just oiled up. Then the second one is Erasure's Run to the Sun, where he is the silver painted dancer. Very important. Ooh. He was also in one more music video called Yellow to the Sea, a reference to the Meg.
Did he do that knowing he would star in the Meg? Foreshadowing.
I haven't even seen that one, which I will watch it. And I will link it as well. And he was he is the swimmer in that. He is the swimmer that
just as he is in this.
And I just want to say also that he has been an action star in my world. I don't know about these other movies. I haven't seen Snatch. Maybe that's also like that. Also a movie called Ghosts of Mars. Sounds exciting. But he has been an action star, frontman. The Transporter came out in 2002. Since 2002. Sorry, I just had to defend him because he did not learn that shit from Fast and Furious.
I'm not even a Fast and Furious girly. It was just a cultural touch point that I had at my fingertips. You know,
I this is no beef to you.
You had to clear the record.
Teachable moment. You need to know about the Transporter series, and I'll watch them with you at any time.
Gorgeous. But yeah, I mean, shark wise, they did study a lot of real shark biology and stuff like that, and then they said actually when you take this shark and just scale it up to 90 feet long, it looks a little funky, so we're just going to change the design around until it looks right to us, even if it's not realistic. And like the pale thing isn't really working for us, so we're going to give it just like normal shark coloring, even though it wouldn't have that down in the Marianas Trench. And like, you know,
it was all like crusty too. It was all ripped up.
Yeah, they did like a lot of things where they were like, we're just gonna take extreme creative license, and they did, and it really worked for me.
It looked like what they're doing with all the fucking masks from the big three and all these remakes. It looked like fucking the Halloween mask in the newest trilogy, where it's like edgy version now, all scratched up and dirty. That's what the shark looks like. It's forget Jaws, that pristine shark. No, the Meg's been through shit for thousands of millions of years or whatever.
The Meg's like, and I'm so old.
Ancient.
I mean, he's just doing his thing. He is reacting, I would say, appropriately to confusing new stimulus in his enclosure. And then he accidentally bumps one of those submersibles into a thermal vent, and you know, it shoots a gush of hot water up through that really cold cloud, which enables the Meg to swim up through it and into the regular ocean, because the whole thing was like, it can't survive.
I thought it had a thruster.
The shark?
No. That would be funny. No, I thought that the submersible thingy, like the spaceship, had a thruster.
It did.
And that's how because it went up so fast, it just like briefly created a tunnel where the water could go through. I didn't know it was a blaster.
My understanding is that both the submarine blasted to the surface, and also while it was down there, it got bumped into a thermal vent that opened a short channel before the temperature re-regulated. Ruby Rose was like explaining it, and I was like, okay.
Whatever you say.
But it's, again, not really my business.
Beautiful, beautiful angel.
Rainn Wilson is like, you're telling me we opened a super highway for big sharks? And she was like, no, just one time. It was just a temporary event that we know of. But they had a lot of fun with it. I mean, the sound design, it sounds like, was like a huge part of this movie and trying to get the right sounds of like, what would a shark sound like against the outside of a submarine, and what would a squid sound like with its tentacles slurping the outside of this glass. And sharks don't make noise themselves, but given that this is a spooky, scary creature feature, how do we kind of make it seem as though the shark is making noise? We do this sound of like the water being forced through its gills and like its tail dragging rocks along the bottom of the ocean and stuff. Yeah,
they
so
really
like
thought about it.
They did. Oh my god. Based on IMDb trivia, it sounds like they put literally so much fucking work into the sound, like an insane amount of work into the sound design. And I think it paid off because when I was doing my rewatch after I read the trivia, when that Zorb ball gets popped at the end, apparently that was something they really wanted to make sure the sound got right for, that inflatable ball that the guy was rolling in on top of the ocean and running on top of everybody else. It sounded great when it popped to me. So whatever they were doing with their weather balloons, etc., inflating them and such, they did a great job.
Great job.
Sounds like my back popping.
Well, yeah. I mean, they IMDb trivia says that they very much did all of their own like Foley work, making their own sound design, sound effects, etc. themselves for this movie. They weren't using like any canned effects or anything like that. So this was very much like a labor of love in that degree, and they took it seriously, but a lot of other things was very silly here.
Yeah, well, I just think that like for me, I love the practical effects movies that we have been talking about a lot lately. And so like it makes me sad when it's a big CGI thing. But then when I hear that they put all of that extra effort, like that's the level of love that I feel comes through with practical effects. And now that I know that, I'm like, they did it. They did it for me.
They did everything
that
they
shark
needed to
sound,
that they can.
beautiful.
Yeah. And in terms of the shark's behavior, obviously we don't have megalodons anymore as far as we know. I don't think. I mean, that we know of. Who knows? But it's interesting if you really watch it. A lot of its behavior is very much like it's kind of just being a shark, and yeah, it's kind of attacking things a little bit, but not necessarily in like a targeted way. It's more like there's something new here, or there's something flailing around here, and it's not kind of until the end when it's like really going into a frenzy with everybody being crazy and it's in a completely new environment that it is like going wild. You know what I mean? So I thought that was interesting too.
But it definitely killed those shark poachers on purpose as redemption. It was a revenge movie in that moment. When they were doing
saw
the
its
finning,
little tiny friends.
awful.
Yeah. And they were like, that's really fucking rude, actually. That's kind of fucked up that you guys are doing this.
So you ate my babies. But also maybe could be because of like dead bodies in the thing.
I want to know what the Meg's motivations are now. Because like, is it
she's chilling?
Is it just hungry? Like super hungry? Did it have food in the deep thing? And so now it's like, I'm eating all these things because it like killed a mommy and a baby whale, and it killed the squid, and it's going after things. And I'm like, that just...
It's hungry.
I don't think there were whales down there. This is a new delicacy. You know what I mean? Like, you know, sometimes
and it did
you
historically eat whales. It's like, I haven't had a whale in a million years.
True. It's been so long since I've had whale. I wonder if it's still any good.
I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I'm going back for seconds.
When its tummy start hurting after eating all of these things that it's normally not, that hasn't been eating?
Maybe it's just a little high. And it's just doing tasting. Nibbles? Yeah. Maybe it's like when you go wine tasting and you like spit it in the bucket. Because you want to try everything.
I never do that. I don't do that. Even if I don't like it.
I don't either. I drink it all.
But you know how in theory that's something that you would do if you didn't want to be fully consuming everything.
Sure.
Or like when you're an actor.
Somebody's doing it.
Yeah.
Someone's doing that.
If you're an actor and you're filming a scene where you're eating something, you might have a spit bucket so that you could do a bunch of takes. You know what I mean? And like I think that could be kind of what she's doing here.
little smorgasbord. She's overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I like
There's
to think
just
that she
so
has
much to
the
take in.
munchies because she has like she got high from going so high up in the
Oh, the
scene. You
head
get what I'm
rush.
saying?
Oh.
And she's like, "Oh fuck, I gotta eat all this stuff, even though my stomach literally can't fit it all."
And also, I feel like we've talked about
Relatable.
before, sharks explore things with their mouths. You know, they don't have hands. So
Could you imagine sharks with hands?
scary.
Oh, no.
And then they just put everything in their mouth using their hands instead.
I think the whale part is like my that's like my favorite part. It's so fucked up. It's so that they did such a good job. I mean, they used that scene in the trailer with the little girl and then the sharks coming up behind her. I love that shit. It's been done a million times. I love it. I don't care.
I love that scene where you like slowly see it come into the thing and then it bites.
Crunch, big crunch.
That was so good.
Big crunch. And it comes back too because like later on they're finally tracking down the shark. They think they've caught it. I mean, I don't think we need to go through what they did. There's many times where they do
Jason Statham had to swim out to the shark and manually stick it and
I gotta go in there myself with my body. It's a terrible idea. You're a one man.
Kill myself.
He is crazy, but he does it because he's in love. I don't know.
He does it because somebody has to.
He's crazy, but he is free.
But he is free. But like, I love how that scene comes back when they catch the Meg and they're like looking at it. They've pulled it up onto their boat, and the wall's like taking these funny pictures with it. And like right then they're like, "Huh, doesn't that look like a little bit of a smaller bite circumference than what we saw on the glass?" And then right there, shit hits the fucking fan. I'm like, they're so smart. They recognize
Guess what?
These things.
There's a second Meg, and it's even bigger, and the wall gets fully swallowed up in its mouth. He immediately disappears. It leaps onto the boat. It takes the other shark with it. That is revenge. These do have they've got some motivations here. They go, "That's my friend. That's my wife. That's my whatever."
Yeah.
Although it jumped out and ate the dead shark, so like
it said, "I'm taking this with me."
It's
and
like actually, I had beef with this other Meg, so
and I'm mad that you killed them instead of me.
Or it's like just the typical it's like bones and all.
True.
Yeah. Wow.
Be with me always. Yeah.
I must consume you. Oh my god. But I thought they do a good job of like just like making you think something's gonna happen and then doing something different to shock you. Like, didn't you think that shark was gonna like come alive and eat his head because he kept getting his head so close to its mouth? I was going nuts. Like... And then they got me. Okay, it worked.
At Universal, they used to have the Jaws shark that was like right outside the ride, and every time they would, you know, you were little, you were getting your picture. I was like, no, this thing's gonna eat me. And then I was like, if they were smart, they would have made it like where like the jaws like just move like a little bit, like
or like it like twitches or something,
like
the tail
sporadically.
moves.
So you're never gonna know like when it's gonna do it. Hire me, Universal.
So fun. I love that. Wow, genius. She's an Imagineer, folks.
I did see when I was reading the trivia, I saw that the first Meg that they caught is actually about the size of what a real megalodon would be. And then the other one is like, yeah, those don't exist.
The second one is like movie magic.
That we know of.
That I loved though. And I loved that here's the thing, they did so many incredibly ridiculous things. You know, the shark cage shooting a harpoon with poison into its mouth, tracking it. You know, that feels like fair enough for a shark movie. They also fucking lassoed one of these sharks. Right. And just like pulled the boat around a little bit
out there.
Yeah. They're like, we're sea cowboys, baby.
Yeehaw.
I thought that they just were having fun. I loved that Jason Statham like swam out there and tagged it and then came back and then he had to like jump back in the water and Rainn Wilson was like, hell yeah. Like they're just, his character was so stupid but having so much fun and was so much fun to watch.
Yeah. He does a good job of confusing you because you're like, first you're like, okay, he's a dick because he doesn't thinks this elevator isn't fancy enough. Then you're like, okay, he appreciates what's going on. That's cool. Then he's like, do not grieve, science now. Later on, and that's like, oh, okay, he's a dick. And then you're like, okay, but he's fun and he's game and he makes funny jokes. But then he is bad. He is bad after all.
He saves Ruby Rose, but he says he's calling all the governments to tell them about the big shark, and he doesn't. And then he's like, I'm gonna explode this shark, and then he's like, we exploded the shark. Let's drop the second explosive just in case. Oopsie, we killed a whale, and now the shark is here, and we have no more explosives.
You should always carry extra explosives.
You should
Rule
have.
number 1 of explosives.
Yeah, I mean,
So
like,
true.
here's the thing. If that had been the Megalodon and he'd only dropped one explosive, we would have been like, you gotta go for the double tap.
Of course.
But
And
he
he
went for
did.
the double tap,
It
and
was just a
it was a
whale.
mistake. It was a mistake. But
you know, mistake, and I also think it was so funny that he fell off the back of that boat. That was perfect.
That
yeah,
was
they just
so
like
funny.
zoomed away, and he just
so
toppled right off. Toppled right.
was like,
and he
deserved.
really thought he was okay for a minute getting over to that whale, and he's like, I'll just hang here. And then the Meg gets him, and you just see one hand get like crunched in the corner of the frame.
Satisfying things like that in this movie.
Megan
I
said,
love like
"Psych."
a blockbuster sometimes. Okay,
I do
love
too.
it. I love my indie shit, but I love like a silly Billy blockbuster movie. I was like, I forgot they do it this big. How could I? I just saw Fast 10 like a month ago, but
Here's the thing, they're just so fun. And like shark movies are just like so stupid and so fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god, wait. Is it time? It's time. It's time to discuss the reasons why I was thinking about Mega Shark and Giant versus Giant Octopus all the time. Have you seen Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus?
I have not.
No.
Do you know anything about it?
I know there's a mega shark
and a giant octopus.
And a giant octopus.
Okay, totally. Yeah,
I assume they fight.
halfway there. You're halfway there. Yes, they do fight.
Okay.
It is a sci-fi horror movie kind of vibe. Like it plays on Memorial Day weekend on a marathon on the Sci-Fi Channel. That's the vibe. Cool. So bad. Or like really trash. Very trash level. Really bad CGI, like ass tier CGI. And then it's like weirdly softcore porny. Like there's all these doctors, but like they're hooking up and stuff. Like fucking. It's like that. Yeah, it's great. It rocks, is what I'm trying to say. Is it rocks hard? But there is a part, spoiler alert, and if you guys don't want to hear it, then close your ears. And that means you too, Sydney and Chelsea. But the most iconic part of the entire movie, there's a lot of great parts, but it's like, if you ever look it up, this comes up, and it was gift all over the internet. There's a guy, and he's in a plane, and he looks out the window of the plane, like a commercial plane, like all the way up in the sky.
Like a Delta flight.
Down at the water. Yeah, like a Delta flight. He looks down at the water, and he looks back. And then he looks back at the water again, and he's like, huh? And then it looks, and the shark, mega shark, flies out. It flies out from the deep up into the sky, and it eats the fucking plane out of the sky, like all the way up. It's not a little plane. It's a big plane. It's all the way up. It goes like up into space almost. It goes that kind of shit. Through the stratosphere.
3,000.
30,000
miles. I don't really know, and I don't.
A mile up, uncaged. 1 mile up, uncaged. I don't know. They always say the Mile High Club, so at least as high as the Mile High Club.
Isn't it like
30,000 to 42,000 feet, between 6 and nearly 8 miles above sea level?
Okay.
Oh my god, what a perfect marker point, considering we're talking about the ocean.
It went the 8 mile and it ate the plane. And it's incredible.
It's the M&M of giant sharks.
Exactly. It's spectacular. It's the most preposterous thing that you've ever seen. And this movie got so preposterous that I was sure when there are all those fucking helicopters, I'm like, he's gonna fucking mega shark him. The Meg is gonna mega shark him. He's got to. He has to. There's one point. Well, I shouldn't gender the Meg. I don't know.
I've been doing it, but I've been doing both. So
the Meg's name is Megan. Meg for short.
Megan.
That was the Swiss name. They're all named Megan.
Yeah, they're all named Megan.
They're all named Megan.
Crazy.
They're all spelled differently.
She like dips down in the water when the helicopters are like shooting her, and I'm like, she's dipping down so she can get the
Propel.
momentum, swimming up and fly into the fucking sky. I've never been so disappointed in my life that didn't happen. I thought I was so smart as I was flavor blasted as all hell. I was like, they're gonna fucking eat the helicopters. It's gonna be sick. No.
Yeah, they said
Little
they
disappointing.
wanted to do the really realistic shark movies, though, like 47 meters down uncaged. So
They didn't want to literally jump the shark where they had the shark jump out of the water and eat a plane.
They did do like a zillion Jaws references, though, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Because
Do tell.
there's at least one moment where they used like the Jaws theme song that they incorporated. You have
Nice.
at the end, which we haven't talked about as much, but when the Meg has reached the deep, far away points of the ocean and is coming to shore, you have like all the people at the beach in the water, and that like one boy specifically who's going to his mom and is like, I want to play in the water. Yeah. And his mom is like, no. And he's like, but I want to. And she's like, I guess. You have the part where the Meg is pulling the floating docks behind it, like how Jaws pulls the barrels.
You have Pippin, the dog.
Yeah, Pippin, the dog in the water. And I don't know.
The dog's name in Jaws is like Pipette or something like that.
Yeah, IMDb trivia said Pipette, and then one other part on IMDb trivia also said Pippin, and I said, well, it's not my business to know which one is right and which one is wrong.
It's little Pip.
It's all the same to me. There's the picture in the book or on the screen or whatever where they're researching the megalodon, and it has a photo of a man standing inside of the jaws, and somebody on IMDb trivia, don't know if they made this up or if this was on purpose, but it says that man has the likeness of Matt Hooper from Jaws. So you know, it's a subtle reference. There are children at the beach on a banana boat, which someone suggested is most likely a nod to Jaws 2, The Revenge, which I haven't seen, so I can't speak to it. But there are lots of things like that. And like the moment we were talking about earlier where they're like, doesn't this shark's mouth seem a little small to be the shark that chomped on the glass earlier, is very similar to like how in Jaws, Hooper was like, the shark that was caught when we encouraged everybody to go shark hunting, its mouth is smaller than what we know the damage has been. Yeah. So there's like all kinds of stuff like that. They were really
I love it.
Involved with that. They were serious with their craft on this movie, for sure serious about their craft. And I think they just had a lot of fun. But the ending scene at the beach is like so crazy. They just are fully wilding at that point. Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's just like a massacre. And like this beach is so deep that the shark can fit down there underneath them.
It's a big boy. It's a big shark.
Yeah. I was like, this is very deep water these folks are in.
But also, I was like, some of the like weird facts, it was like a megalodon would not be like that deep because they were actually like shallow water hunters.
Yeah, but it was that deep in the Marianas Trench because it was warm down there. So,
but also, could you imagine like
sleepy? I want a little nappy.
But here's the thing: could you imagine like just going to the beach and it's like, oh, Megan's here? Like what?
Fucking Megan is here again. It's like, Megan, don't you have places to be? Megan, don't you have any other friends?
Can you not ruin my beach day? Like, please.
If you just want to hang out, that's fine. But you're always coming and starting drama. And honestly, the whole friend group is getting really sick of it.
Yeah.
We're over it, Megan.
But yeah, I mean, they're just going crazy. It's like, I love when it chomps the guy in the Zorb ball. I love the Zorb ball guy just literally running over on top of everyone. I thought that was so funny.
Just destroying people.
I loved earlier when the second Meg got the first Meg and then smashed their boat to smithereens. And they had to try and get to the little like life rafts or whatever so they could zoom home. And I don't know how the hell they got home, because I was like, didn't all your technology also mostly just get smashed or wet in the water? But I guess maybe they're working with waterproof equipment. That would make sense.
They gotta be.
But there's another part at the end. Yeah, there's another part at the end where their boat is getting destroyed, and DJ, who I love, who has a lot of very funny lines, and he's given kind of like this stereotypical role of being the black guy who's like, I didn't sign up for this, but also like he literally didn't sign up for this, so it is valid.
But also, he is breaking stereotypes by not being the first to die.
So true. And you know, they kind of call out some of it a little directly in the movie when he can't swim, and Rainn Wilson is like, you can't swim, and he's like, it's not about race. Why would I ever have been in the water? And he's like, you work in deep sea research, and he's like, yes, but on the base and on the boat. So you know, they're having fun with it. But I love at the end when their boat is like going down or whatever, and he just like yeets Mei Ying into the water to save her.
Yes. Oh my God. He's like, get in there, girl.
Yeah. And then she like sasses him right back later because he's splashing around, and she's like, you're literally wearing a life jacket, and so am I. So you could afford to calm down a little bit. But they're just, you know, having fun and having a blast and being so silly goofy the whole film. Everybody is just being silly goofy, having fun the whole film.
Everybody is being little silly gooses.
It's so silly. I love how silly it is. Oh, it's so fun. I just was laughing my ass off. I was exhausted when I watched this, and I was like, a balm for my soul. No thoughts, just good shark vibes, or mean shark vibes, but it's good all the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's not meant to be serious. You know what I mean? Like, they're being silly on purpose. They're having fun on purpose. But I think it's like a great script for the most part. Anything that happens that would be super cheesy in another movie doesn't hit you with like maximum cheese in this movie. Like,
totally.
When they're going down in the submarines in the beginning, and Jonas is going after Soo-yin, and he's like, I don't know, he says something sassy about her and her capabilities, and is like, tell her blah blah blah, and then Mac is like, you just told her yourself. But it's like not, it's like done in a way that feels normal and not like slapstick. And when Soo-yin walks in on him when he's in just his towel after the shower, like, that could have been really over the top, but it like kind of works. I don't know, it
was cute.
They did a great job, I think, overall. Like, the 8-year-old telling him like, oh, my mom's down in the submersible and my dad ran away with a yoga instructor from Taipei,
Pilates
or whatever
instructor. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it was Pilates.
Like, it was
so sorry, Sydney. But I don't know, they just like, they had a lot of fun with it. I thought they executed everything flawlessly for the most part. They just, you know, they were having a great time, and they had a lot of fun little bits also, and they had some really interesting lines too. Like the main scientist, the Soo-yin's dad, before he died, they had that part where they were kind of like grappling with what they did, and he's like, you know, we were trying to do research. That was what was important to me. We thought we were finding all these new species. Obviously, Rainn Wilson's billionaire character wanted to capitalize on all of it in different ways than everybody else did.
They need those funds to get down there.
Yeah. And I mean, like, honestly, if you're gonna be a billionaire, the least you could do is be a patron of the arts and the sciences. That's bare minimum. But the main scientist, Soo-yin's dad, has that line where he's like facing it, and he's like, we did what people always do, discover and then destroy. And I loved that. I don't know, I just thought it was great. I thought it was great, full stop. No other commentary, I guess, actually. And I loved that bit when they were like, somebody has to swim to the shark, and Rainn Wilson is like, I can't swim. oh, sorry, my body made me say, like, he's so
funny.
silly. Yeah, he's so silly. They're like, how are we gonna track this shark? And he's like, haven't you guys seen Shark Week? Like, they're just having fun.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, they haven't done a shark movie with this big of a budget in a while, or they hadn't. This was like insane blockbuster status, and so it's good to have that back. I love that we're getting our monster movies back, our silly, goofy monster movies.
I love a good creature feature.
Yeah,
we have Big
Bear.
Squid. Yeah, to me, this is like exactly Cocaine Bear type shit.
Exactly. Except this was PG-13, so it's not as
Could you imagine
as Cocaine Bear?
But could you imagine what this movie could have been if it was rated R?
Oh,
I can't imagine actually, because other than cursing, what would you have added? Because I feel like it had everything.
More
gore. There's not a lot of gore. It wasn't very horror. It was more action.
That's true.
Creature feature kind of movie. That's okay. We can say multitudes. I like blockbusters too.
There was a bunch of jump scares. I did get spooked.
Ooh.
Oh, good.
A couple times.
I mean, well, do you want to say any of the moments that spooked you? Do you remember?
When the baby whale gets eaten, that me.
That got me so bad. Oh,
when Megan the Squid showed up, that got me. When the shark bites the thing, that got me. When second bigger Megan jumps out, that made me jump. I also took a movie watching supplement, so I was just jumpy, I think. But like, and also jump scares will always get me. I startle easily.
I love jump scares. Everyone's like, they're a cheap shot. I love it.
I love them anyways.
They can be a cheap shot, but sometimes they're done really well.
Yeah.
And I didn't think any of them in this movie were cheap.
No.
Like, none of them felt unfair.
Even if they're unfair, I'm like, fuck, but like, you got me. That kind of a vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that they had a lot of fun, and the only thing that would have devastated me was if Pippin the dog hadn't made it. But when Pippin the dog popped back up at the end, I cheered. I cheered for Pippin.
I screaming.
I cried
a little. Screaming. I was like,
Pippin! Not Pippin! Yeah. But guess what?
But when he was okay, I was screaming, yes! I told Adam all about it. He didn't care at all. What? And I was like, the dog survived. Well, he didn't watch it. He didn't know what I was talking about. I like kind of was saying it nonsensically because I was flavor blasted. I was like, Pippin survived, in case you want to know. And he was like, okay.
In case you even care.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean,
pass the dog test or whatever that shit is.
Pass the dog test. And also it made sense because their whole thing was like, if you're just kind of hanging out in the water and you're one person or one little small dog, the Meg is not that interested in you necessarily. But if you're splashing around and making noise, that's when you're attracting the Meg's attention. So that one little tiny dog versus all of these people screaming, kicking, splashing, Pippin's going to be okay.
It was so funny though, the shot with Pippin like swimming as hard as he fucking could with the big
little
giant Sharky.
Okay, but I love when he's like swimming out and then he sees the fin and he's like, nope.
Yeah.
The smart little baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's a masterpiece. But there was one thing that I read in the IMDb trivia that I do think was not done well, if what I read was what was intended to be conveyed to the audience. So we know that, I guess, if a big, super big sea creature dies in the ocean, a bunch of black tip reef sharks immediately appear to start nibbling it, which happens a couple of times in this movie, both with the whale and with the Meg at the end. But at the end, when Megan to the Meganing has been gotten, she's been taken down, and all the black tip reef sharks show up to eat her. There's one shark that's like swims out of her mouth, and I thought it was just a shark like all the other sharks, but apparently in the end of the book that the Meg is based on, there's a baby Meg that is featured in the next book. So that shark that swims out of its mouth is maybe the baby Meg, but why would it be inside of the Meg?
That's not it. That's not how sharks are born.
Sharks are
They're not like Russian
born
nesting dolls.
They're born in an egg. They're put in an egg. They're put in an egg. I don't know. They lay an egg. Okay, I don't know how it works, but it's called like a mermaid's. They call it a mermaid's purse because it kind of looks like a little bag, and it's like see through, and you can see the shark through it, and it's like rustily colored or something like that. So they don't do live births. So that would not that. I don't think that's what they're trying to convey.
Yeah,
I hope
maybe
not.
somebody just fully made that up on IMDb trivia, which is possible because I will just read things and regurgitate them.
Sharks actually vomit up their children, Monica. It's like a well-known fact.
It's how babies are in your belly.
I wanted to be a marine biologist.
The baby's in your belly, and then when you are giving birth to the baby, you just puke it up.
No, you guys, this was supposed to be very cool. It was that. Okay, one, the killing of the shark was so sick. But it was supposed to be that they ate through the shark all the way and this other shark swam through its open mouth. So it's super dead. That's what that's supposed to be. It being like, it's dead. This shark just swam through its body cavity because it's eated so much. No, nope. Jason Statham literally guts this thing with his cool underwater spaceship.
Okay, but another fun fact, in the book, he like dives into the mouth of it and like guts it with its own tooth.
Oh yeah,
that's way cooler. Why didn't we do that? That's way cooler.
Way cooler.
I guess they didn't have a loose tooth around, you know. Rainn Wilson was like, "Can you get me some of these teeth?" And that's when they discovered that it was a whale. So I guess that was when their tooth finding mission went wrong.
He could have just jumped into its mouth and gone, rah, and ripped the tooth out of its mouth and then like fucking went crazy in there.
Sick. I think in the book, but I could 100% be making this up. I think he has a tooth from that first submarine rescue where he had to leave people behind. And that was like part of his evidence that this really happened or that there really was something down there and that it really was a megalodon, but they didn't quite go that route in this movie because they were like, we actually have a lot going on that we also need to be we have too many factors already, and we need to be like juggling his chemistry with his ex-wife and also his tension with his former shipmate Heller and his new flirtation with this, you know, there's just like a lot. There's a lot already on the page.
Well,
but he does done it. Yeah, he does. It is pretty rad the way he like stabs the shark to get purchase on it, and then when it leaps out of the water, now that he's not in the underneath the water, he's able to get like the momentum to fully shove that harpoon through the Meg's eye. And I don't know much about shark brains, so like I was a little surprised that one hit did it, but I guess it's like a zombie movie, you know.
I think it kind of like was dying, and then the baby sharks like
started eating it, and it was like, well,
sealed
what are you
the deal.
Gonna do?
Yeah. Baby shark, baby.
Do you guys
no, it's stuck in my fucking head. Stop. Hush.
You know, one thing that I was
oh no.
Just a quick, completely unrelated side note to the ocean in general. You know what was crazy was when there were those whales off the coast of wherever in California, and they were being super active, and people were going out to see the whales, and then there were those two people who were like in a kayak, and then they were in the whale's mouth because it was like, yeah, it was like feeding, and they were like, we didn't even realize we were in the whale's mouth because it happened so fast. But if you look at the video, yeah, they were in that whale's mouth. That was crazy.
So cool.
The ocean is fucking crazy, you guys.
The ocean
is crazy. I like it a lot. There's a lot that I don't want to be directly involved with.
Okay, also, since we're doing fun ocean facts, I learned that like, so when whales come up to breathe, they, you know, suck in a bunch of oxygen, but they also suck in like a lot of CO2, and then they bring it down like deep. And so they are pulling a lot of our like polluted air and like putting it into the ocean, like removing it for us. And so
they bring it down for the seaweed to be converted back into oxygen.
Yeah, they're literally giant air filters. So protect the whales at all costs.
Protect the whales with everything we have.
You gotta be like Lori, Jason Statham's ex-wife, who is certainly not illegally exploding any whaling ships. She would never do that.
She would never.
But she rules. Everything about her rules. And also the both end credit song and the song that they show up when they first are in Thailand, and it's the Hey Mickey cover in Thai. Yes. That slaps.
Oh,
that slaps so hard. That song is so good. I was like, wow, amazing touch. Delicious. Yeah.
Everything about it, great.
I watched all of the credits just so I could listen to that song.
I thought there might be an after credit scene, and so I fast forwarded through the whole thing, waiting for the after credit scene. Nothing. Disappointing.
Sad. Whatever. Good thing we've got a sequel coming so soon.
I know. That would have been a great opportunity for them to show the shark purse, the mermaid purse. You can see its little egg, and then
they're gonna show its pussy on live TV.
Okay, I didn't mean that. Jesus Christ. I wasn't meaning that they're gonna show the birth. They're just gonna show the little egg, and then if you know about marine biology, you're like, fuck. That's a big egg.
That's a big egg. That's a Meg-sized egg.
That's a Meg egg.
Egg. Meg.
Really
That's
lovely.
Got 2 G's on it.
I get it. I got it. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Thank you so much. Should we move into our segments, or is there...
it's time. It's segments time. So, how could this movie be gayer? I just want to open the floor by saying that Jax is the most like authentically non-binary person that I've seen on screen in a while. But honestly, most of the time they just said their name. They just said Jax, Jax, Jax. And then at the end, fucking DJ ruined it and was like, she. And I was like, damn it. I thought that she was, they were maybe like canon non-binary for a second.
Could be she, they. Could be they, she.
Yeah, true. True. But I thought like maybe they were like, you know, doing like some undercover, like, oh, they never said a pronoun. Did you notice that? Gay Easter egg?
Definitely not.
And then it got ruined at the end. It got ruined at the end.
Well, maybe in the sequel, we can be like, Jax has actually been doing a little work on Jax's identity, and now Jax doesn't use any pronouns at all. Jax only uses Jax's name.
Jax.
There you go.
Will Jax be in the sequel?
I don't know, actually. I was looking at IMDb. Suyeon is not going to be on it, which I was disappointed to see.
DJ is coming back.
DJ's coming back. Mei Ying is coming back, which makes me wonder if Mei Ying's dad is going to be in the movie. And if we're going to get the alternate perspective on that whole Taipei Pilates instructor thing. And how Mei Ying was like, my grandpa wants to know why my mommy hasn't moved on, but my mommy says she needs more time because she was married to an asshole.
No, oh my God. Someone we know is in this movie. I can't say
I know. I saw that.
Oh my God. Anyway, keep going.
Text the group. I want to know.
Yeah,
I will.
Okay, you do it. Yeah, I noticed her in the trailer and I was like, man, is that her?
Oh no.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
moving on.
No.
But yeah, I mean, the sequel seems really promising. I don't see Ruby Rose listed, unfortunately. That said, I don't know that I see Lori listed either, and so I can only assume that actually maybe they fell in love after casually hooking up during all of this science exploration. They were just like passing the time in the Meg 1, you know what I mean? But off screen in the Meg 2, it's like they're fully in love and going on other hardcore adventures and saving whales and doing marine biology and building
that just
submarines.
Has to
be it. It feels
There's
right
no
to
other
me.
way. Yeah, totally. Agreed.
I also feel like someone named The Wall is queer.
Yeah. I feel that.
I don't know, like, what
like,
the
he's a
Walls deal
bear.
is. Yeah, but it feels like the same kind of thing to me, where it's like, if you're naming yourself the Wall, you're probably somebody who has, like, considered what's in a name, what's in an identity, what's your presentation, what are you putting forth? You know what I mean? Like, I
A
just
lot of
think
thought went into
they're
that,
reckoning with those
yeah.
ideas.
Totally.
Who else is gay? Tushy has a wife, but I think is a bisexual icon. I've decided.
Okay.
I love that for
And
him.
Tushy and the Wall are like queer platonic besties. And also Lori, I guess, because we've decided she's queer as well. So like that whole little 3-person
There's
submarine
a little
crew.
gay submersible.
Yeah.
Honestly, we are a little gay submersible too.
Oh my god, so true.
Oh my god. I love that.
Jonas and Heller, I don't think ever hooked up, but I think part of the tension is because they never hooked up.
No, I think they hooked up once and it went really wrong.
It was like really awkward.
And that's why there's beef. Or Heller fell in love with him.
They started to kiss
like,
and then somebody walked in on them and then they like never looked at each other in the eye again.
No, I think Heller wanted too much a relationship. And Jason Statham was like, actually, bestie, I'm just looking to hook up. And then he was mad.
I just fuck and I fuck hard, but
I just fuck. I don't do emotions.
Yeah.
And then he like immediately got married to Lori.
Yeah.
Like really
that's exactly what happened.
And Heller was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and now it's like they're back in the same place, but now he's immediately falling for Soo Yin. And it's just like, you told me you only fuck and you fuck hard, but now you're falling in love with all these other people? Like, what's that about?
Seems like you lied to me when you said that. Nope. No, this is it. This is canon.
Those are my thoughts.
Written on the wall.
On that segment.
Okay, then that leads us to where would Matthew Lillard fit into this film? And I just would like to say, on the day that we're recording this, it is the day that the Five Nights at Freddy's, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's trailer dropped, and we got to see Maddie strut his stuff on the trailer, and it was beautiful.
In the
Shouts out
6
to our
seconds
man back in horror.
Yeah. He was in it. He was incredible.
He served face for sure.
I thought that Rainn Wilson did an incredible job in this movie as Morris Mr. Billionaire, but I also think Maddie Lily would have done an incredible job as Morris Mr. Billionaire.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's absolutely it. That's it. Spot on.
It's
or he
literally
voiced the Meg.
Oh, yeah.
Or the whales, because the whales are like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know who? Wait, so sorry to go back to the other segment. Mac and Jonas also, I think had a friends with benefits relationship that ended well because they just were like going into different phases of their life.
Both of them
they
were
definitely
like, we
also
just
have
fuck
hooked up.
hard, okay? And like,
yeah. Both of them were like,
that
I
was
fuck,
great.
I just fuck hard. Anyway.
Wow. That's why they're such bros now, because they both know, like, I know he fucks hard because he fucked me.
Like, he's like, oh, you live above a bar? Yeah, how else could I get you to visit? Like, that's flirting.
They absolutely explored each other's bodies multiple times.
Yeah, I think.
Clear. Yeah, but I think the only place for Matthew really is as Rainn Wilson's character.
I think that, I mean, he could be in other roles, but that's where I want him, and I think where he would thrive.
Totally. Yes. Agreed. 100% agreed. Okay, that brings us to the dumb bitch. And that, I feel like, is Rainn Wilson.
Yeah. It's not great to be like, yes, I totally told all of the countries about the big shark who lives in the waters. Now that was kind of my fault that I got there. And I'm definitely not just gonna try to explode it with dynamite. But that is what he did. He just lied to everybody like a liar.
But he did it like a sociopath way. He was like, I care about you so much and I am so sorry. And then he got in the boat and he's like, we're gonna blow that shit up. Ha ha ha. He was like making fun of it almost.
And he was like,
okay, he didn't mean a word of that.
And he didn't really want to save people's lives. He wanted to save himself being legally liable for letting the Meg into the rest of the ocean.
Yeah, he was self-serving all
He
along.
was like, we can't handle the lawsuit, so we're just going to explode the Meg, which is also like, I don't know, not a tasteful way of going about it.
No, I agree. The sploding option is very rarely the right option.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there are even any. I mean, maybe like Soo-Yin's ex-husband should get a nomination because she seems like a catch, and you know.
Yeah.
But I think we needed the door open for Jason Statham.
Yeah, no.
It was meant to be.
It's got to be Rainn Wilson. These other folks, they might be trifling, but they're not causing categoric shifts in the way the ocean works.
Yeah, they're not disrupting delicate ecosystems.
Exactly. Morris, or I guess that's his character's name.
Are a little bit because they are the ones in the submarines, but like in the name of science. And they were trying to be respectful about it. It's just shit hit the fan a little.
Yeah. Okay, well,
and then they went, that was bad, I guess, wasn't
oopsies.
it? Man, oopsies.
Remorse.
And he never even said oopsies. Can you believe that bullshit?
Dumb bitch behavior. You gotta say oopsies when you make an oopsie.
You gotta say oopsies.
You get it. That's decided. It's Morris. So that brings us to our knives out of 5s. And so was this like a big slam dunk? Did they go, oh, yay?
Like, I would say, to me, in my heart, yes, a big slam dunk. But in terms of its performance, I mean, clearly it was an expensive movie to make, and it did well enough that somebody said they would pay for the sequel to get made. So in that regard, I think it probably must have been financially successful, as a lot of shark movies are in the summertime, you know. But numbers wise, when it comes to the reviews, less so. It has a 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb. But then on Rotten Tomatoes, it was rotten across the board, unfortunately. It had 46% rotten from critics and 42% rotten from audiences. It was also nominated. They don't get it. It was nominated for a Razzie Award for the worst remake, ripoff, or sequel in 2019. They said it was a ripoff of Jaws, which is not true. It's actually just an homage.
Very different. Yeah.
It's actually being respectful. It's not plagiarizing. So think about that before you speak. But apparently it was supposed to be nominated for more Razzies, but there was like some kind of mix up with the website that year for voting. I mean, am not familiar with how voting works for the Razzies, but a piece of IMDb trivia would have me believe that if you're a paid member of the site, you get to vote for the nominations, and you're not supposed to be able to vote if you are not a paid member of the site, but something went wrong that year, and so people could vote willy-nilly. And so the Meg both escaped being nominated for Razzies, but also was not getting the Razzie love that it deserved, because I think a movie like this shines when it has a Razzie. You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. Totally.
This movie did not deserve a Razzie. This is so good.
It is good, but also the Razzies get it wrong a lot, and so sometimes they say, take this Razzie, and it's actually an honor, because they're not
a huge honor.
Yeah, they're revealing that they didn't get it, but the girls who did get it do get it. You know what I mean?
The girls who get it. Yeah, totally. All right, well,
but yeah,
wants to go first?
I'm giving this movie a 4.5 out of 5.
Gorgeous.
This movie, I had so much fun. And also today I saw my cousin post, and she was just like at the bar watching the Meg on her phone. And she was like, I love this movie. And I was like,
wow.
The girls who get it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it I do think, like I was saying with all the sound design and stuff, it sounds like they really put a lot of work into this movie. It's exactly the right kind of shark movie for me. Exactly what I'm looking for when I want a shark movie. Reading about what's going on in the book, it does seem like the book is doing some really cool stuff that the movie didn't get into really. But I think that's okay. Things can be different. And I don't want to give it Five Knives per se, because part of what is so special about it is that it is not a Five Knives movie, but I also think it's wonderful. So I'll go ahead and I'll copy Sydney and I'll give it 4.5 knives out of 5s.
I also cannot wait. I'm absolutely gonna go see the Meg 2 in theaters.
Oh, I am absolutely gonna go see the Meg 2 in theaters.
Can we go together?
Yes,
we gotta go together. We gotta go together. Yeah. I really liked this movie a lot. I had a really good time, but I mean, it didn't speak to me on a soul level, like anything crazy like that. I did have a great time though. I have no complaints. It's just like, I'm not the shark girly of the pod. I'm not. So I'm gonna give this 4.1 out of 5.
Okay.
And I, no notes, just it's not my fave.
No, it's just like rocking along and like vibing, but
along. Like I didn't
vibrational alignment.
I didn't feel like super strongly about it. It didn't move me in a lot of ways, but I did have a rockin' time,
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Okay, so next week, I don't know if it is the burning, flaming pits of hot, hot hell where you are, but down here in Alabama, it's about to be 115 degrees with so much humidity, you can slice the air with a knife. And my cat...
That sounds so nice.
Is
really great.
And so what other horror movie makes you feel like you are hot and sticky, sweaty,
swimming through the muggy air?
Yeah. Than the good old classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre, baby.
I'm so excited to do this movie. It's totally a classic. And you haven't seen it before, right, Chuff?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of them, actually. I watched like a little clip. Like, obviously, I've been exposed to it through pop culture osmosis because it's one of the most famous movies ever, let alone just in horror, over the past, few decades. But I'm excited to experience the whole thing for myself so that one day we can do the Renee Zellweger one.
Yeah. There's nothing like chopping it up during the summertime. You know what I mean?
And there's nothing like it.
The last time I saw this was when we saw it as a big group minus Chelsea at Cinespia.
Yeah, that was great.
That was so fun.
It's brief and to the point.
Yes.
It's wonderful. Yeah, so I'm really excited to do another classic. We were just inspired by our horror movie draft. We were like, look at these 70s, 80s vibes.
I just like it because now
all through the month of July.
I just like it because now everybody is on board with my favorite era of horror.
Oh yeah, open my eyes.
Hard to deny how great it is once you start dipping your toes in.
Seriously.
Thank you.
It's amazing. I was never not on board, but now I would say I've seen the undercover shit too a little bit. And that feels exciting and spicy. Okay, we have to come up with our poll question for this. Okay. This is my question that I have. Did you believe the chemistry between Jason Statham and Soo-Yin? I don't know if it was actually there.
Okay.
Well, I'll leave it to the listeners.
Okay, but my poll question is, do you think you could beat the Meg like Jason Statham?
Ooh, that's even better.
Do you think Pippin could beat the Meg? Because I
That's
think she
the
could.
question.
I mean, Pippin.
That's it.
Pippin did, beat
and
the
she
Meg.
did. We saw her. Yeah.
Pippin
Amazing.
already beat the Meg.
Pippin
top dog challenge alert.
But yeah, I think those are good. I think those are good poll questions. We'll use one of those, and then you should, vote on it. It's very exciting. It's very, very exciting. We're doing interactive things on Spotify. You wouldn't believe it. There's many questions on there. Many of them are ending soon because we didn't understand how to set the time limit on it. And you can set it for way longer than just 1 week. But you never know. Maybe we're just going to set this one to 1 week. So you better rush to Spotify right now. And while you're at it, why not give us 5 stars on Spotify? We're like really close to 100 ratings over there. So come on, just do it. Get us there. We'd appreciate it. Also, give us 5-star review. Beautiful, beautiful limerick about a shark named Megan on Apple Podcasts. I think that's basically written itself.
I think it's time to bring the haikus back.
There once was a Meg named Meg who had a shark purse that was an egg.
Wow.
Some Meg.
There. Wow.
You guys finish the rest. Take it from there. I started it for you.
There you go. There's a great premise for you. Amazing. Gorgeous. And while you're at it, while you're on the internet, why not follow us on social media? We're at Spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and also YouTube. We are trying to get to 200 subscribers. That is our next stretch goal. But I think closer to that would be 150. Can't you help us get to 150? We're so close. We're actually very close. We're rather close. We're closer to that than we are to 100. Think of it that way.
Huzzah!
So you could be our, it's pretty exciting. So get in there. Give us a subscribe so we can monetize. And also we're on Facebook and Tumblr at Spooky Tuesday Pod and on Letterboxd at Spooky Tuesday. And as I say every day, all the time, thank you for listening. See you next Tuesday.
Bye, Spookies.
Okay, who the hell is gonna make that swim?
Let's draw straws.
I can't swim.
Oh. Sorry. My body made me say that.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.